in LNG in association with Powerplay, presented by ExxonMobil.
Natural gas as a cleaner energy definitely play a large role for China to meet carbon peak as well as carbon neutrality.
Welcome to LNG TV for today's episode of Women in LNG. Today we speak with Tze San Koh, President of ExxonMobil's China gas marketing business. In this episode we'll be discussing the continued growth of China's energy demand, the importance of gas to the country and its low carbon ambitions, as well as exploring Suzanne's incredible career journey. Suzanne, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and thank you. Such a pleasure and honor to be here.
Thank you, Suzanne, so much for joining us. Tell me about your current role with ExxonMobil in the gas business in China.
Yeah, so I'm taking care of all gas business and business development in overall China. And, gas is such an important role right now for China as China actually go forward into, a more carbon, how would I say, President Xi in the last year during the UN Assembly basically made the announcement and a very bold ambition about China reaching carbon peak by 2030 and then carbon neutrality by 2060. That create immense opportunity for natural gas in China. And so, natural gas business development is my area for overall China. So very exciting time for me and my team.
Could we dive a bit more into the specifics of how you can see the energy mix changing over the next 10 to 20 years in China?
Currently, China is basically the largest energy consumer. And with that is also the largest carbon emitter. With President Xi making the commitment, right, there's a huge role that natural gas can play in China. And currently, natural gas in the total energy mix in China is about 8%. And overall in the world, we are seeing average about 24%. So in terms of the huge potential growth that we can see in China in the next 10 to 20 years is going to be huge. And the other thing that I want to point out is according to the Tsinghua University, right? China long-term low carbon development strategy and pathway need to attain two goals. Number one, to build a strong socialist, modernized China, as well as beautiful China. And number two, right, to limit the global temperature rise within 2 degrees Celsius while striving to achieve, hopefully the 1.5 degrees Celsius target. So with that, natural gas as a cleaner energy definitely play a large role for China to meet carbon peak as well as carbon neutrality. At the same time, natural gas also provides a reliable source of power to supplement renewable energy when wind or solar power is not available. So huge potential, I would say.
You strike me as being, from the little we've spoken, very passionate about your job. You were selected as one of the 2020 Global Female Influencers by the Women's Energy Council. What did that accolade, that recognition mean to you?
I'm both very humbled and very honored by the recognition. And, I joined this industry and I joined ExxonMobil almost 30 years ago. And, I always say that, we need to do our role with passion. And I'm so passionate about this role. And I would say that, how many of us, when we wake up, snooze the alarm button, right? And I would say that in majority of my career, I don't snooze that very often because I'm so excited to come to work every day. And why is that so? Because I feel that our company, ExxonMobil, our energy industry is key to bringing people out of poverty, is key to giving people a better life, right? All the essentials that we have today, right, needs energy, right? comes out of chemical that is actually produced by our company. You need to have a switch of a button to have electricity in order to, have light. And all this are basically what we in ExxonMobil, what we in the energy industry do. And in the world today, there are more than 1 billion people that are still without energy, right? And so in order to give them this energy and bring them out of poverty and give them a better life, I think our corporation, our energy industry play a key role to better their lives. So that gives me lots of passion about what I do, because I feel that our energy industry and our corporation can really make a positive impact in people's lives.
Absolutely. In terms of speaking about sort of looking internally and looking as you as a leader, former Power Play winner Julie Mayo said, and I quote, "We should embrace diversity as a critical part of business strategy." Is this something that you see as key as a leader?
Definitely. Our energy industry is complex, right? We need to provide more energy, right? We need to make sure we take care of our Mother Earth. So it's a dual challenges. How do we do that? We need to invest in technology. We need to resolve complex issues. And in order to do that, we need diverse talents. We need to attract more talent into our industry to develop creative, innovative solution and technology that can tackle these dual challenges, right? And diverse talent is very important. It's not just about gender. It's also different educational background, different culture, so that we can bring in the best ideas, debate with each other, and then develop great creative solution, right, to solve the complex situation that we're in. And I do believe that we can achieve both. We can provide more energy and at the same time take care of our Mother Earth.
A lot has been made of the changing world of work. What's been your experience, and have there been plenty of potential benefits or any issues with the way things have changed in day-to-day work in the last 18 months?
Ellie, it's a question, I have lots of personal experience, right? Last year, unfortunately, actually, my son had an accident. So I had to rush back to the US, to look after him, right? He has lots of surgeries that I have to be there. I want to be there as a mother. And, I was thinking about, hey, how is that going to work? Being in the US, and I was thinking it's only going to be a short period of time, and then I'm going to come back to China. But of course, with the COVID-19, with all the travel restriction, I was actually back in the US for more than 6 months. But really, technology like Zoom, Yearling, instant messaging work. So even though it's different continent, different time zone, right? I was able to, connect with my team members back in China, and then as well as with the customers. And we even have signing ceremony, across Zoom, across Yearling. So I would say, it's you need to, I need to embrace technology. It's a little different, but it's very workable.
Very workable if you're willing to work all night. How did it work? How did you manage being based in the States but yet working in Chinese time?
Okay, and I'll tell you what, Ellie, I treasure my sleep a lot. So I did not work through the night. Okay, so I kind of try to work in the morning, have a bit of a rest in the afternoon, and then work at night again, and then I sleep, right? So I just have to adjust the time zone a little differently. But again, I felt that with the COVID-19, anyway, majority of the activities are done at home. I just have to be adaptable in terms of the time zone. And I must say that I have a fantastic team back in the China that can accommodate my needs, as well as very understanding customers too. They know that I was back in the US, and then when we have meeting, we take turn, right, to actually be evening our time. And again, once we are able to establish great relationship, trusting relationship, whether it's with our team members or whether it's with customers, and then coupled with the use of technology, I think is really workable.
I can already, or we can already feel your great passion and energy for work. But you've alluded that your family is based in the United States. You're in China. How have you managed that whole work-life balance, family, and being a successful career woman as you are?
First of all, my husband is now with me in China, and we're taking time to experience, different parts of China. Weekdays, I'm very, very caught up, and I try to reserve weekends, for my husband and I to explore different parts of the city in Beijing and different parts of China as well, because we're able to freely travel. And then both our children are actually in university, and I call them almost every morning, my time, on the way to work, right? And, through Zoom, through FaceTime, and we always have very good conversation. They know that, okay, mommy is going to call them about 5 or 6 p.m. their time. Sometimes they are having dinner while I have my breakfast, or it's on the way for me on the way to work. So again, I'm very appreciative of the technology. And I feel that, we have to make very conscientious effort to connect with our loved ones, connect with our family members. Because again, with technology, we can work 24/7, but I do not believe that's going to be sustainable, right? So therefore, I feel that having adequate rest, having enough time for ourselves, having enough time for our loved one is very important. I have to put that in my calendar to make sure that I have enough time to spend with my husband, with my 2 children, as well as, for the hobbies that I have. Yeah.
Seems like you have a phenomenal ability to manage everything within your life. And we're speaking to you today as a very seasoned executive, but no one ever starts out that way. What are some of the influences that you have had along the way that have helped you get to this stage in your career?
I've been really fortunate and blessed to have many different mentors and sponsors along my almost 30 years of career with ExxonMobil. Many of them, I would say, nudge me, more than I have trust in myself. They will have more faith in me and say, Tze San, you can do it. I think you can give it a shot. This role, you can give it a shot. Try it out. Why don't you try it out? If you don't try out, you won't know whether you are successful, right? And so I'm very fortunate to have many of them to encourage me, to push me, to get me out of my comfort zone. So, I'm really very thankful for many of my mentors and sponsors. Now, at the same time, I would tell you that another group of people that I'm really, really thankful of are my team members. They are fantastic. Majority of my team members, we always complimented each other in terms of our strength, in terms of how we can supplement each other, build synergy. And therefore, I'm a firm believer that 1 + 1 + 1 is not 3, right? It can be 4, 5, 6, as long as we can leverage on each other's strength, right? And then and what we want to do is we need to debate. But once we debate, we need to align and then charge forward. And that itself, as a team, we really can create magic.
What would you consider as your first big role within your career, really? How did you feel taking that on? Did you get any advice, or how did you prepare for that role?
I would say that one of the role that I was, I find it as a big breakthrough for myself is, I have been based in Singapore for many years, right? About 15, 16 years, although, started with a Singapore role, then the regional role and Asia Pacific role. But, the first expatriate assignment was when I took it to Houston about 13 years ago. And it really changed my perspective, right? It's different when you make business trip versus you move together with your whole family to a country that you have never lived in before. You may have visited it many times, but to live in it is different. And that role really allowed me to challenge myself push myself to get to know really different culture, how to work in different environment. I have team members across different continents, different time zone, diverse cultures. And I would say it's great to know their culture, but it's even more critical to know each and every team member, because you cannot generalize each and every one of us, because every one of us is very different. So I think one of the great advice that my mentor and sponsor along the way tell me is it's always very important to understand every individual, and then how do we work well with them, and then how they supplement us, and then how do we then progress together.
Which goes back to the diversity point earlier, and having teams that are made up of so many different people and different backgrounds. In terms of your impact when you throughout your career, professionally and personally, I guess we all want to have an impact somewhere. What about you? What impact do you hope to make, and how would you like to be remembered at the end of your career?
Wow, that's a very big question. It's almost like, what type of legacy would I like to kind of leave behind? But one of the thoughts that I have is almost like planting seed, watering the plant, and then finally enjoying the shade under the tree, right? And how does that kind of relate to my career? I would say that I'm passionate about grooming people. So first of all, identifying them, and then grooming them, which is watering them. And then hopefully, and most of the time, it's gratifying to see that they are more successful than me. All right. That's the part that I find most gratifying, right? From a seed, they become a plant, and they become a huge tree, right? And that to me, hopefully, is something that I can do a small role in playing in such a way that we can groom more talent to make even a bigger impact to the world.
Well, I'm sure you're well on your way to growing a huge tree, both personally and professionally. Thank you so much, Suzanne. It's been great to have you on board. Thank you very much. Suzanne, that is the latest episode of Women in LNG. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do look at the website for more episodes, but from Will and myself, it's goodbye.
Women in LNG, in association with Powerplay, presented by ExxonMobil.